Well, hi there, boys and girls. I've got these student notes under your assignments folder on Edline, so if you want to, you can go ahead and go grab a copy of this. Again, I'll be right here waiting on you. So this is under Edline, under assignments folder, if you want to go ahead and get a copy of this. I'll wait right here. Press pause. Okay, well, welcome back. So what we're going to do today is we're going to practice more exact values, and this is going to look pretty complicated, but we're still just going to take these one step at a time, and it's not really that bad. So we're going to go through some examples here. So let me grab a hold of this one, and we're going to blow that up, make it bigger. Okay, so we're going to take these two steps at a time. One step at a time, and I'll do it in two total steps. So I'm going to draw this triangle 10 pi over 3. Now 10 pi over 3 in degrees is a pretty big angle. As a matter of fact, it's past 2 pi. And so if you do a little conversion, 10 times 180 divided by 3, you get 600. So if I need to find what that reference angle is. Now 600 degrees, I'm going to go ahead and subtract off 360 so that I can find a, what is this called if we add or subtract 360? That's right, a coterminal angle. So that means that I end up really at 240 degrees. So I need to draw 240 degrees, which is down here in quadrant 3. Alright, and I'm going to drop my altitude. Okay, and I'm going to figure out my reference angle. So 240 degrees is 90, 180, here's 270. I have rotated around 240. How far past 180 degrees have I gone? Well, I've gone 60 degrees past 180. So this reference angle is 60 degrees. This other angle is a 30-degree angle, so now I'm ready to label my sides. Across from the 60-degree angle, we put a square root of 3, but we call it negative because we went down. Across from the 30-degree angle, we put a 1, but we call that negative because we went left. And of course, we know the hypotenuse gets a 2. Okay, then I'm going to draw 19 pi over 6. Okay, so where is that at? Well, that's 19 times 180 over 6, and that works out to be, I'm pretty sure that's 570 degrees. 6 goes into 180 30 times, 19, 38, 57. Yeah, so that's 570 degrees. We subtract off 360 to get what? What is this called again? That's right, it's called a reference angle. I'm sorry, no, coterminal angle. Sorry, that's not reference, that's coterminal angle. So now I can draw that. So let me scooch down here, draw a 210 degree angle, which is still out here in quadrant 3, but it has a different reference angle. If you rotate around 210 degrees, then we have gone 30 degrees past 180. And then this is 60 and that's 90. So let's label our sides. Across from the 30 we're going to put a 1, but it's negative because we went down. Across from the 60 we put a square root of 3. It's negative because we went left. Hypotenuse is a 2. I am now ready to come up here and answer what looks like a really hard question. Alright, the cosine of 10 pi over 3. This one was 10 pi over 3. And cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So cosine of 10 pi over 3, you look at your reference angle. Here's where you put your theta. Your adjacent is negative 1, and your hypotenuse is 2. Then minus, I have 3 times, now the sine of 19 pi over 6. So we come look at our 19 pi over 6 drawing. You always look at this reference angle. This reference angle is the one always attached here to the origin. That's where your theta is. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, and that's also negative 1/2. So now we're ready to answer this. I'm going to put a 1 under that 5 and a 1 under that 3 so I can see the multiplication of fractions. So I'll do multiply the tops together, and then here I'm going to have multiply the tops together, and I'm going to get this double negative thing, which I'm going to turn into a positive. And negative 5/2 plus 3/2 is negative 2/2, which works out to be negative 1. So even though this looks difficult and long, you just take this one piece at a time. I drew this angle and found the cosine. I drew this angle and found the sine, and then I brought the 5 through and the 3 through and did some fraction work. Let's look at some more. Let's grab a hold of this second one. Go work this problem. Okay, I've got one angle. I only need to draw one angle because they're the same. So I got to draw a negative 3 pi over 4 angle. Negative, of course, means we're going clockwise. Negative 3 pi over 4 is negative 135 degrees. It ends up right there. We like quadrant 3 today for some reason. Okay, so I've converted that. Negative 3 pi over 4 is negative 135 degrees. And if I rotate negative 135 degrees, my reference angle is a 45 degree angle because 180 minus 135 is 45. So I have a 45, 45, 90 triangle sitting here in quadrant 3. Let's label our sides. We put 1s across from the 45 degrees, but they're both negative because we went left and down. The hypotenuse is square root of 2. So now that I have my picture, I can answer these. Just bring the 5 straight down. And let's answer the cosine of this angle. Look at your reference angle, which is right here attached to the origin. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Now let's do the sine of that angle. Sine is, from a reference angle, opposite over hypotenuse. And there was no coefficient in front of that sine. So let's go ahead and do our fraction work. Put a 1 under that 5. Multiply straight across. And here, that's plus a negative, which is just minus 1 over the square root of 2. And so this works out to be same denominator, so I've got negative 6 over the square root of 2. Let's go look at another one. I want to do a squared thingy, so let's take a look at number 3. And here at the top, in those notes, you see that squared, cosecant squared of 2 pi over 3 simply means I am going to find the cosecant of 2 pi over 3, and once I find that fraction, I'm going to multiply it by itself. Okay, so I've got to find two angles here, 2 pi over 3 and 7 pi over 6. 2 pi over 3, we've already seen that. That's 120. We saw that yesterday. So that's 120 degrees, and our reference angle is 60. Because 180 minus 120 is 60. Put a 1 across from the 30, but it's negative because we went left. Put a square root of 3 across from the 60 and put a 2 on the hypotenuse. The square root of 3 is positive because we're going up, and of course the hypotenuse is always positive. And then let's draw the picture for 7 pi over 6. 7 pi over 6 is 210 degrees down here in quadrant 3. Bunch down there today. 7 pi over 6 is 210 degrees. So if I go around 210 degrees, my reference angle, or the angle that's right there touching the origin, is 30 degrees. Here's a 60, here's a 90. We'll put a 1 across from the 30, but it's negative because we went down. Put a square root of 3 across from the 60, but it's negative because we went left. And a 2 on the hypotenuse. Alright, so let's answer these. I'm going to rewrite it though. I want to do the cosecant of 2 pi over 3. Find that fraction and square it. That's what this means. And then I want to do the tangent of 7 pi over 6. Find that fraction and square that. So let's do this. Okay, cosecant. That's the reciprocal of sine. So instead of opposite over hypotenuse, we want to do hypotenuse over opposite. Now tangent for a 7 pi over 6 angle is opposite over adjacent. So that's a negative divided by a negative, which means those are going to cancel and make a positive. Alright, so how do you square a fraction? Well, you square the top and you square the bottom. Square the top, square the bottom. Same denominator, 5/3. Boom shakalaka. Let's do one last example. Let's do a division. Okay, so sine of 11 pi over 6 divided by the cosine of negative 2 pi over 3. Let's go draw our angles. 11 pi over 6 works out to be 330 degrees with your conversion. That's over here in quadrant 4. If you rotate 330 degrees, what's left for this reference angle in here touching the origin? 30 degrees, because 330 plus 30 is 360. This is a 60 degree angle, and that's a 90 degree angle. we're going to put a 1 across from the 30 degrees, but it's negative because we went down. A square root of 3 across from the 60 degrees, it's positive because we went to the right, and a 2 on the hypotenuse. Okay, I had to pause for just a second there. Alright, so we've drawn that angle. Now let's do negative 2 pi over 3. That means a negative 120 degrees. So we are going to end up over here in quadrant 3 again. So if that's negative 120, this reference angle is a 60-degree angle because they add the 180, 30, and a 90. We'll put a 1 across from the 30, but it's negative because we went left. And we'll put a square root of 3 across from the 60, and it's negative because we went down, and a 2 on the hypotenuse. We are now ready to answer these. The sine of 11 pi over 6, here was our 11 pi over 6 angle. We look at our reference angle. This is our theta, the one touching the origin. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, negative 1/2. Then we're going to come down to negative 2 pi over 3. Cosine from your reference angle is adjacent over hypotenuse. Well, I was going to show you that how to divide fractions again, but this is anything divided by itself is 1. But let's go ahead and do it anyway. This means negative 1/2 divided by negative 1/2. And you should remember that to divide fractions, you multiply by the reciprocal. This works out to be negative 2 over negative 2, which works out to just be 1. Anyway, that's it. More practice tomorrow, and I will see you guys then.